Hello, friends. Welcome back to another game review. I'm going to be doing one on a game that I actually put a video out for shortly, like I say yesterday or the day before, and that is Project Zomboid. Um, Project Zomboid is a asymmetric. I believe I should know that term by now. Asymmetric zombie game, survival. I should say is a zombie survival game. Let me just look up what it's considered on Wikipedia for the life of me. Open world isometric, that's what it's called. Isometric survival horror video game. In development by British and Canadian independent developer, the Indie Stone. Oh, this Wikipedia article is nice to look at. But pretty much, it's designed to be a pretty open world, kind of sandboxy survival game. You have different difficulties that allow for different things, such as you want like really hardcore survival, do you want more laid back, kind of more sneaky stuff, or do you want like a whole sandbox thing where you might not even require like anything survival element wise, you just want the building stuff. Um, it's a game that I looked at a while back, I want to say. Um, Back in I want to say not super long ago, like probably June, July, I think. Yeah, like around June, July. And then I had a friend, Evan, who's on uh my videos on here so far. Uh he got into it. He saw it. He tried it out and then realized that there's modding and then got wholly sucked into that game for a while because of that. Um I'll talk about it like base wise, like the base vanilla game, and then I will address a little bit of the modding aspects of it because modding is actually pretty important for Project Zomboid. The base game though is wonderful. It's a pretty solid little horror game that's does something that most horror, especially zombie horror games, don't really do, and it's kind of sucky because I think it's arguably one of the better experiences zombie games can provide, which is just throwing you into one. You don't have this like crazy story. You don't have like a campaign. Uh, you have like scenarios that you can perform in where it gives you like specific things you could do, but otherwise it's just you in an apocalypse. What do you do? You can start the game with different specialities that help you define your skills, such as like a few different skills throughout the game, such as mechanics, carpentry, scavenging, a lot of the basics of like a building zombie thing. So you could get different professions. So you kind of build an RPG kind of character out of it, and um, that way you can develop into something you want to be in the apocalypse. Now, granted, this game is designed and tells you that you're likely going to die, like no matter what, and it's true. You can survive for incredible bouts of time, but it's extremely easy to make one little hiccup and then just lose the character. Now, granted, this game does something different where you don't die quite so much. The only other game I've seen do it in a long time was a long time ago, I should say, which was Zombie U for the Wii U, which I wish was a little more looked at. It wasn't a bad game, but it was different. But Zombie U had the same thing where if you die, you come back as a zombie, and your new player can go find your old character, kill that character off, and then take back all the supplies that you had previously. But granted, you don't quite lose all your progress when you die in this game, which is super nice. You do lose all your skill progress though, so you would have to restart all over again with your skills. That can be pretty frustrating, but people have really loved this game, and I see absolutely why. Um, you can do so much in it. Build a base. You can recapture bases kind of in a way. You could go into a base, claim it as your base, and then rebuild it up, such as putting planks on walls, putting different utility items into the game, such as like rain catchers, and you can catch rain in pots and filter them. It's super super in depth survival, which isn't done very often, and I think it's wonderful. Um, you can also bring friends into the game, which is probably the best part of it, is being able to go through a zombie survival game, but with your friends. Um, and then it just kind of has that free form feel to it, to where you can do whatever you want, fix up cars and everything. You can go to places throughout the cities that you're in, scavenge for supplies, bring back to base, go out again, kill zombies. It's the I would argue the most raw experience for a zombie game. Um, and it just does it wonderfully, I think. Now, as I spoke before, modded wise is super important, I think, to Project Zomboid, that even in their main menu, they have a mod section, because, I think games that do that, they know what they're doing. They're so smart with their game. Modding can be the absolute savior of a lot of games. A lot of games don't have it, unfortunately, which like is understandable. You don't typically want to put out your tools to people, but when you're a game like this and you put your tools out to people, they make the craziest things that make the game just that much more enjoyable. Um, Mods can range from anything in this game, adding new kinds of zombies, new kind of assets to the game, new kind of items, um, more vehicles, more building stuff, more skills. That's a big one too. More skills into it, more ways of getting skills. My favorite, not my quite favorite mod, but one that I deeply appreciate is you can craft a journal, and then you can sit and write in your journal. You do have to have a pen, by the way, in your inventory to write in it. Craft a journal, write in the journal, and it saves all your skill progress in that journal. That means if you do die, come back, find your guy, get that journal off him, and read it again. You have all your skills. That's so it's a lifesaver, to be honest. It's a mod I almost say is required if you're going to be modding the game. I do recommend that one heavily. But the mods, I don't say save the game, because the game by itself is already pretty awesome, but the mods add quite a bit. I do recommend, if you're one of those kind of people that sit down and like to look at mods, just I would absolutely just sit down and just go for about a few hours looking through mods, adding the ones, make sure they work, by the way. That's another thing that Project Zomboid does amazing, which is they tell in your mod loader that this mod doesn't work or this mod doesn't work, and that's a lifesaver, by the way. Every single mod, anything should do that. Most of them don't. So for it to do that is amazing, and has made the modding experience like incredibly nice. Now don't get me wrong, I did none of it. I will admit it. I did no modding. I did like no searching up moddings, or I should say. I don't have the technical expertise to mod by myself, but what I meant is just looking through mods and like curating them for my friends and everything. My Evan did that for me. He's wonderful at that kind of stuff. He'll search through hours and hours and find mods. So I think we have a pretty good experience. If you do want to, if we'll be playing it somewhat frequently, probably coming up. So do keep an eye on the channel for that kind of that playthrough of it. Kind of a playthrough, like I said, it's more like a gaming log of when we do play it. But keep an eye; you'll see kind of what mods we have in the game. 10 years later is kind of a standard one I see people play a lot, which is just makes everything overgrown and everything, which looks cool. But otherwise, that's pretty much for the game. I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's not super expensive. I think it's like $20 on Steam. Let me give you a good price. It might even be on sale currently, but sales will run out, of course. I just looked up Steam on Steam. Yeah, it's even on sale right now. $13.39. And has a deal where you can buy a 4-pack of it in case you want to send it to your friends. I think you should. If you're someone who plays by themselves, just get the, of course, the $13 one right now. It's normally is $20. It's normally 60, but that does mean you save $20 on a game if you have 4 friends or 3 friends and yourself. Uh, I'll also put in here, if I have played a game, how many hours I put into it. Project Zomboid isn't up there for me. It's a little bit up there, 72.1 hours at the time of this review. Um, Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Recommend it wholeheartedly. I would give it like say 8 out of 10. Stupendous zombie game. Does everything zombie games should do, and then does everything that it doesn't do the things that a lot of zombie games do, which I think is wonderful. But that'll be it for this review. As always, I'd like to ask you to like and comment if you have played Project Zomboid. What do you think about it? I'd like to have a conversation with any of you down there about what you think about Project Zomboid. If you have mods in your game, what mods do you typically run? Or like, is there any kind of mod you think people don't typically play with and you play with? What mod is that? Or what kind of character have you created so far? What kind of have you made like a mechanic a lot, or do you make survivor like fighters, or carpenters, or gardeners, or something like that? What do you generate a lot often in Project Zomboid? I like to hear any of your responses down below, of course. And as always, I like to ask you to subscribe. If you do, I think you're wonderful. If you don't, I still think you're wonderful. So it's completely up to you. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.